Hi, this is John Sanpietro, and today's question is a really interesting one. It reads, Dear John, my downline recently suggested I start charging $5 for workshops, but refund the charge if they place a $30 minimum order. She said she's going to start doing it too. Now, I've crunched the numbers, and it doesn't make sense to me, but before I speak to her, I'd like your opinion on this. Is it a good idea? Well, first of all, I'd like to commend you for taking a very necessary step whenever you evaluate an idea. Whether it's mine or anyone else's, when someone gives you an idea, the first thing you should always do is crunch the numbers. Always very, very important, because an idea could sound good, it could sound sensible, but the numbers don't always bear it out. So let's crunch the numbers on this idea. The average number of attendees at a workshop is about 6. Sometimes you have more, sometimes you have fewer, but generally it's about 6. And the average time invested in a workshop is about 6 hours. Now, this may sound like a lot, but when you consider the amount of time a workshop takes, plus your travel to and from the workshop, plus planning the projects, plus prepping, plus hostess coaching, plus closing the workshop out, it really does come out very quickly to at least 6 hours. So if we take this idea, and let's say in scenario A, nobody buys anything. Let's say that they all pay you $5 and they don't purchase any product. Well, that means that your gross profit is $30. Now, most workshops have 1 or 2 hands-on projects, so let's say that you do 2 hands-on projects. Works out to about $1 per person in materials costs, so you need to subtract that from your gross profits to get your net profit. So $30 minus $6 in materials costs equals a net profit of $24. So that means that if nobody orders from you, you made $24 for 6 hours of work. Or, to put it another way, you got paid $4 an hour. Now, is that what you're worth? I'm sorry, I just don't think that's what you're worth. I think that for the amount of time that you've put into this, for the amount of money that you've put into this, for the amount of knowledge that you have, you are worth a hell of a lot more than $4 an hour. And any idea that stands a very good chance of only making you $4 an hour is an idea you really have to take a look at, and you really have to consider whether or not it's a good idea for you. And even if every attendee did purchase their $30, it's still not really getting you paid. Let's take a look at those numbers and crunch them. The average number of attendees is still 6. That hasn't changed. The average time invested is 6 hours. That hasn't changed. Your gross profit is now $59.40 because you had 6 people who each bought $30 worth of product. That's a $180 total product order for that workshop. Multiply that by 33%, which is the average instant income and volume rebate, and you end up with a gross profit of $59.40. Subtract your expenses, which also haven't changed, $1 per person times 6 is $6, and you end up with a net profit of $53.40. Or, if you divide that by 6, $8.90 per hour. Again, just above minimum wage in most cases, and probably less than some of you are paying your babysitters to come out and do this workshop. The bottom line, guys, is this workshop does not get you paid. It simply does not get you paid. For some stamping business owners, this might make a little more sense. There are a lot of stamping business owners out there who have a lot of people in their downline, and they're collecting, a couple of $1,000s a month in downline commission checks. The way they have to collect those checks is they have to meet a minimum sales goal. So if they have to do this or that to meet that minimum sales goal in order to make the big check every month, okay, that makes some sense. But if you're not collecting the money on the back end, if you're not collecting that big thousands of dollars in downline commissions every month, then you're just losing money on the front end with no reward later on. This workshop does not get you paid. In fact, this type of workshop actually costs you money. Number one, you're giving workshop attendees a low-cost out to not purchase product. They may have actually purchased product, but you're saying, oh, just give me $5 and you don't have to. Well, a lot of people are going to take you up on that. And so you're losing money from people who might have purchased product and earned you a higher commission because you've given them that excuse. Number two, even if the attendee does purchase product, you're sending a subliminal message that they only have to purchase $30 worth. That only earns you around $10 in commissions. And finally, and this is a really important point, by setting that low $5 price point, you make it very difficult to set a higher price point for your classes. Think about this. You're saying to somebody, hey, come to my workshop, we're going to do 2 hands-on projects and it's only going to cost you $5. Then next week you're going to say to them, hey, come to my class, we're going to do 2 hands-on projects and it's going to cost you $25. How do you do that? How do you do that? How does your customer take that price point seriously when you've just told them that 2 hands-on projects is worth $5? You are costing yourself a lot of money on the front end and the back end. Guys, my policy and the policy I tell all of my clients is do not charge for a workshop. That is not what a workshop is. You make your money at a workshop on product sales, on the instant income and commissions that you get from product sales. You make your money on event fees from things like classes. Charging for a workshop is just so detrimental because it confuses your customer. And anytime your customer gets confused, it costs you money. Workshops can be awesome. They really can. They can be a great way to build your business. They can be a great way to make money. But they have to be done right. Because if they're not being done right, then it's going to cost you money, it's going to cost you time, and it's just going to frustrate you. So how do you do a workshop right? In my opinion, 3 steps. Number 1, set a minimum per person sales goal that will allow you to walk out of the event feeling like you actually got paid. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't set it as low as $30. I would say $50 per person. Because if you set a minimum $50 per person sales goal, and you have 6 people come, and they all meet that goal, that's a $300 workshop. Now, $300 times 33%, that's $100 in your pocket. And $100 divided by 6 hours, that works out to just under $17 an hour. Now, that's not bad. That's going to leave you feeling like you got paid. That's going to leave you feeling like the workshop was worth it. So how do you get people to spend your minimum per person sales goal? Make sure that each project you do in the workshop uses product whose total retail price meets or exceeds that minimum sales goal. In other words, if your minimum sales goal, per person sales goal, is $50, then you want to make sure that each project that you do, if somebody had to buy the cardstock, the stamp set, the inks, the accessories, etc., to make that project at home themselves, the total cost of all of that product for that one project would meet or exceed $50. And then finally, don't give them an easy way to not purchase product. Don't give them that easy out because people will take it. If you open the door, people are going to walk through it. Guys, again, workshops can be awesome, but they have to get you paid. And if they're not getting you paid, then you got to look at why, and you have to make some changes. Remember, you get what you ask for. So crunch the numbers and be sure you know what you're asking for at all times. If you'd like to learn more about Stamping is My Business, please feel free to visit any of the following sites. My name is John Sanpietro, and I'm just trying to get you paid.